So for today's video, we are going to be committing to the placement of the eyes. Then we're going to be sewing up the head, sewing on the nose, the ears, and then the cheeks. And if I feel like risking it, we are also going to be brushing the cheeks out with a wire brush. If you want to do that with me, you're going to have to get a wire brush. If you've come here from the Red Panda video, you know what's going on already and you're ready to get sewing. If you've come here clicking thinking you're going to be doing the fox, this is just the sewing part of the face. So if you want to do this fox, you're going to have to go back to my other video for the Red Panda. The bodies are exactly the same, except that you are going to have to pick whatever colors for the fox. And then add this little tip to his ear, and his tail is different, so there is a pattern for the tail in the description of the Red Panda video, and as well as a little bit bigger nose. And I will put the link to this guy's body down in the description for you guys to be able to access fairly easily. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is take these ears off. And then put the backs of your eyes together. And you should be able to just reach in if you left yourself enough space. And just clip that on. Listen for the clicks. Put the other one on. My camera's just kind of floating in the air on a little wire, so I probably will bump it a few times. I apologize in advance for the little wigglies you're going to be getting. And let's close this up. And what were we on? I think we're doing 18. Oh no, we're on row 20 for the head, which is 1 single crochet, 1 decrease for a total of 12. And I debated doing this with you guys because it's very awkward the way I gotta wrap my arms around this camera. But, oh yeah, how am I gonna do that? I don't know how to get this camera any higher so we can see what's going on here. Okay, so we'll do 1 and then a decrease for 2. And you can do the invisible decrease. I gave up on it. So, and 3. And a decrease for 4. Oops, sorry. Oh my god, I'm not organized enough. My yarn is crazy. And 5. And a decrease for 6. And 7, and 8 is a decrease. 1 and 9. And 10 is a decrease. And 11. And 12 is a decrease. Now you're going to do 6 more decreases all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, can't tell what string goes where, and 6. And then just tie that off, leaving enough string to sew it together here at the end. You can get rid of your stitch marker if you still have that in. And then we're just gonna thread your needle and just go in the top loops. I think I'm going to start this way, try and hide that knot a bit. Just go in and out of those last 6 stitches. Just the top loop, and that should prevent you from having a little bump up on the top. I mean, sometimes it's inevitable. I just lost my yarn. And then just give it a tug. Try and get that knot down in there. And then find a place close to where you can go in, like a little hole like that. And then you're just going to tie a knot in there twice. Oops. Oh, I just poked myself again. And then just bring that back and through somewhere in the back of the head, making sure you're in a hole and not splitting any stitches. Then you just pull that a little bit and give it a snip and it'll pop back inside. Okay. So I'm going to do the nose first. And where I left you guys, we had 4 pins in, which I learned a different way to pin just by accident. Usually I just kept going like this all the way around. Eventually enough pins held it in, but I learned, I don't even know what made me do this, but if you take a little bit of the stitch and you go down just enough into the where you're pinning it to, and you fold it over straight flat, and then you give it a push, that pin seems to just kind of hold everything. I'm not sure how, but it does. So instead of needing 15, 20 pins, you just need a couple. And I actually did the red panda with the 4 pins that I had. But just in case you haven't done much sewing on, I thought I'd show you that. Okay, get your, now hopefully I'm close enough here. Let's see. So I'm going to take this pin out since I put more in. And what I like to do is I don't start here. I start down underneath in a stitch so I can take this knot and kind of hide it in the hole of that stitch. So just grab a little tiny bit of that. Move your nose out of the way if you need to. And then hopefully when you give it a tug, that knot kind of disappears into your work. And then I go right back into that same stitch and into the stitch that I just went into. And then I go over and grab the next stitch of the body. Oops, don't do that. That was almost a big mistake. Okay, so then that's the stitch you were just in. You're going to go to the next stitch, and I've pinned this so many times I stretch the stitches, but they'll still fix themselves. So I go into the next stitch of the nose, and the same stitch that I just came out of the body. And when you're doing this, make sure you're going underneath the stitches of your nose, and I'll show you what happens if you don't do it that way. And then you'll just keep going around like that. So into the next stitch, and then into the same stitch you just came up through, underneath all of the nose, and then just grab the next stitch of the body and come up and through again. Now that might be a little far, but I think that stitch is wide enough that it'll hide it. Now if you end up putting your stitches out here away from the nose, the first time I did the horns on the goat, that's what I did, because I wasn't thinking, usually I'm using the same color to attach the same thing. So like if I was using a red horn and a red body, you wouldn't notice this, but because I stitched it this way, you can see all the lines all the way across. And it kind of worked for this guy, just because of, he's the Chinese New Year guy, so he's got all these weird marks. But you don't want to see that on your little bears and foxes and bunnies and whatever else you make. Okay, I gotta push that nose down a bit. I see it's a little uneven with my eyes. Okay, so I will finish doing the nose. You guys finish doing your nose exactly the same way. Just keep it going the next stitch, down and then up and through, just like we just did. And I will meet you back when we get down and around to tying it off down here. Okay, you should be somewhere down around here, ready to finish your last couple of stitches. I take my last pin out. And just keep going. Making sure when you're on this bottom row that you're nice and straight along the last row of your whatever stitch line you're following. I'm not happy with this video. I seem like I'm always out of the frame. I hope it's not too bad for you guys, because see, as I'm complaining about it, I'm off in nowhere land. How did I even make this? Okay, I'm at my last stitch here. So I'm just going to go down underneath as good as you can get. You're going to grab that stitch and then you're just going to tie off. And hopefully you're doing a better job than me. And I'll knot mine twice because I'm not tying it to anything else in the back, like when you tie the two arms, if you tie two arms together or two ears together or two legs together. which you don't have to do in this one, yay. Okay. And then just find, see that naughty mess? Find one of these holes you can go down into. And you're gonna wanna, once you find a spot in the back, you're gonna wanna give that a really good pull. So you can pop that knot you made right through them stitches and you won't see it. Where'd it go? There it is. See? How did we do? And I don't see it. And then just tie this off. Okay, so for the ears, you're going to take your tail and you're just going to thread it in and out of both sides all the way up to the other end and close that up. Make sure you get through both of the V's on each side. And then once you get up to the end, we'll pin him on. So I don't know how hard this will be to see. This is your center right here. So this is your 6 decreases, and you're just going to line it up with this row. It would be your second last row. And you want to make sure that your tail, oh my god, what ear in each hand. Your tail is on this side. And that you're lined up nice and even with the arm. And then start pinning it on. Three should do you. Okay, I'm standing up now, so we'll see if this works any better. You're just going to pick one post just underneath the ear and bring it up and through to the other side. Whoops. Oh, I caught my pin. That's what happened. So you'll go through the body going this way, and then through the ear, just above where your, just above where these V's are in your last stitch. So you're on the very bottom of the ear. And then you'll find that post underneath the ear. You just need one. I should take that pin out. It's just in my way now. And then through the next stitch of your bottom of your ear. And then find the post in the next row. And then back up through the bottom of the ear on the next stitch. take this middle pin out. Keep an eye that you're still lined up all the time. Find the post of the next row. And then down to the bottom of the ear. And then the post on the next row. And the bottom of the next ear. Oops. Having a heck of a time. Poor little Mr. Fox. Just keep going exactly like you were all the way to the end. And the last one. Oh, that pin catches me every time. If you still have your cheeks on, I want there to be a space there. So I did actually pin it a touch low, so I want to end there. So I'm just going to go around in that row where I want it to end. And I'm just going to grab the very back of this ear loop here. Try and get more than one stitch if you're doing the same as me. And then I'm just going to tie it. Am I going to tie it? Maybe I'll go backwards one more time. Just so I'm not right at the end with my tie. And then we'll tie it here, close to where there's a hole. So you can take that knot back in there. And I'm just going to tie this once because when we get the other ear on, I'm going to thread both ends into here, out this side of the head, and then tie them, and then hide the ends. So I should have put the other ear on so I could do that now, but get your other ear on, just like that one, and then I'll join you back and we'll tie them up. Okay, so to tie your ears up in the back, you're just going to go down into a stitch that's right close to where you made your knot, and then come out through the back in a hole and give it a little bit of a tug. And then do the same for the other side. Go into a hole right beside where you tied your knot and come out where your other string is. Give it a bit of a tug. And then you're going to tie these two together. If you want to snug your ears in a bit, give it a little pull to where you want it. And then I tie mine about 3 times. And then you're just going to thread that into the body somewhere. And then down and out, wherever Okay, give that a cut. And then we just have our cheeks left. So where we left our cheeks, we just had them pinned twice. If you're happy with the placement, leave them alone. If you want to move them a little bit, now that you've kind of got everything together, what I did was I tied these actually like this to bring them in. And then I put a few pins in to kind of just help keep that like that. I can get them in. Can't do it with one hand, apparently. And then just put a few more pins around the middle. Kind of try and keep them so when you're stitching they won't be in your way. So you're just going to stitch this on the same way you did the nose. So I feel like that's something you can do on your own, probably. Just make sure they're even. Double check that you've got a little bit of space between the ear, especially if you're doing the red panda, between the ear and the cheek. And that they're on a bit of an angle. And about the same amount. I think I got mine 3 stitches from the eye, if you got the big eyes, and from the nose looks like about 3 stitches as well. So give the cheeks a go, and then I will join you back for the last little bits. Okay, I'm gonna be brave. We're gonna start brushing out this red panda. Okie dokie, let's go. I've never brushed out attached before. One thing I'm going to say is you're going to want to be very careful you don't hit anywhere else on his face or his arms. And I'm really pulling the stitches, so I hope this, maybe I should start this way. And that will at least cover when it's flipped back all the stitches I'm pulling. It looks better in person than it does on video, I promise. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt if you get a little bit of the orange right where it attaches. I'm not sure how you get those holes from not showing up. It's working, but I mean, either I got a lot of work left or this might not have been worth doing. So all I see is it's pulling these, like that's, who wants to see that? So you can fix the back ones, but how do you fix these front ones? I think you just got to kind of play a bit. Oh yeah, that'll work. Just try not to get the orange. Yeah, I probably should have done this first, but I didn't know how it would stitch on. Just need to get well, I think it will work. It's going to take a little bit of fiddliness. Oh yeah, that's already looking better. Right where I was in there. Oh, it feels nice and soft, that's for sure. Now, so okay, you don't need to watch me do this for half an hour, but it is going to work. And I think I would do just kind of the edge of the ear maybe. This side I'm not quite so worried about, because I know you're not going to see all the stitches like the other one. I think you play around with that a bit, it'll fix itself. I'm not done there, I'll go back. It's the orange. Oh, that is actually looking cute up there. Okay, so you guys, if you're wire brushing, keep on doing that. I think there's nothing else to worry about. Thanks for watching. I'm sorry this video wasn't quite as good as some of my others. But I promised I would make it, so I've made it. And hopefully it was helpful in some way. Thanks for watching, and happy crocheting.